Welcome back to Let's Play Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga. Last time, we entered the base of the Vanguards and found out they're a little bit frightened of us after the whole demonic cannibalism thing. But hey, that's not going to let us break down potentially good negotiations, so we're just going to chase down Harley and shake him down for what he knows. Honestly, it did not seem like he knew much, but hey, we don't really have anything else to go on. The black-haired girl isn't really conversational at the moment due to being unconscious. Actually, before we get too far into things, now that we have accessed our demonic forms, we have a whole slew of options on our menu now. Here, we can just look over our skills. As you can see, one that I didn't go over in the last battle was Void Ice. Cast it, and our entire party becomes immune to one ice attack. Additionally, if an enemy does use an ice attack on it and we void it, they lose 2 press turns instead of 1. And that is a very big point of strategy in this game. All the other skills, I already went over what those do. We can set skills, though we do not have any skills beyond what we started with. You may have noticed that we had little gauges underneath our experience meters in the results screen from the previous battle. That is our Atma Gauge, which we can check our mantras here. Don't know the name of a mantra or even what a mantra is really, but we can judge its AP. As you can see, we can get a few skills off of it once that gauge is full. See, Heat is set to learn Fire Magic. Looks like Surf has got some kind of physical skills there. Argilla is set to learn Earth Magic, but she is not eating right now, so she will not be gaining any AP. Check our status and overlook our stats. I realize I completely forgot to explain what Vitality does at the end of the last video. Vitality is very straightforward. It just reduces physical damage, and for each point of Vitality you get 4 extra hit points. So, makes you much more durable, and it's probably my second favorite stat to invest in. I consider it more important than any of the other stats, especially if you're running a magic build like mine and you're not going to be using physical attacks at all. Strength will just be a complete dump stat. We'll not get too bogged down on statistical talk right now. Looks like we can't get over there. Now, like I said, at this point we can start getting into fights. However, there are several mechanics of the game that won't become apparent until they become relevant. You know, I actually already slipped my mind to do something. I am off to a great start today, but it's okay. We got our first enemies here. I always freak these guys. Onmarakis, and they are weak to ice. So Surf just completely annihilates them. Honestly, I could have just passed Heat and Argilla's turns to get to Surf, and he could have killed them both. Heat gets a level. Now, Heat is the physically oriented member of our group. He gets lots of strength and vitality, puts a decent amount into agility and luck, and almost nothing into magic as the game progresses, and that is a pretty critical flaw in this game, as he has abysmal magic defense due to that, and he takes a ton of damage. Just to give you an example, the way I'm building Surf, he's weak to magic, or fire magic, not weak to magic, but with enough magic power, he will take less damage from fire magic than Heat would, who resists it. Yeah, Heat is really bad with his magic. Man, that is some insane luck. That is the rarest and most desirable bonus you can get. Argilla got a less notable bonus. She was completely healed. Argilla is magically focused, so she puts a lot of points into magic, a decent amount of points into agility and luck, and then her strength and vitality are on the lowish side, though not completely terrible. Sadly, she's going to be a little redundant due to the way I'm building Surf, just because Surf is always going to have so much more magic power than her, but she's still a decent addition, and hey, you can't really go wrong with having multiple casters. Before I forget, we can reorganize our party here. We don't have to have Surf in the front, and in fact, we don't even have to have him in the party once we get more than 3 party members, but that'll be for later. So what I want to do is I want to put Heat at the front, put Surf in the middle, and put Argilla at the end, and there's a very specific reason why I want this formation, which hopefully will be apparent in a encounter we get into soon. Let's see if this is one of them. Nah, not this one. In particular, just because there's one enemy. And he's weak to ice anyway. Now you saw that when we hit him with the ice spell, one of our press turn icons started flashing. When you hit an enemy's weakness or you score a critical hit, you only consume half a turn icon. And a half a turn icon can essentially be used to give you a full other turn. By exploiting weaknesses or getting critical hits, we can double the amount of actions we take for a round of combat. We won't always be able to do that, but for random encounters, it's pretty critical to winning fights effectively that you take advantage of that. And certainly if you can manage to get critical hits in boss fights, that helps you very much there. And it's Harley, but he is not really looking to talk to us. So the wall has been raised. So obviously, you know what we gotta do here. We gotta go back to the room that we were just in and walk across. And Surf is just taking a little nap there. I'm actually gonna pass back to Heat because he can just hit harder than Argilla, and he has a better chance of actually killing the Alp here. As you can see, she's not very bright, trying to put Surf to sleep again. Sadly, Sleep as a status lost its beneficial attribute from Nocturne, which is you don't get HP and MP while you're asleep anymore. But yeah, while you're asleep, you cannot act at all, and you are much more susceptible to being critically hit when you're asleep. Sleep doesn't guarantee critical hits, it just merely increases the chance that a physical attack will cause one. Got another Annoraki here. After a point, I will definitely start editing out encounters if they get a little over long or if I'm just getting into a ton of them, but for these short ones, we don't really have to worry about it too much. Now, like I said, for Surf, on odd levels, we're going to take 2 points of magic, then a point of vitality. And I like to build, like, I could absolutely just put all of my points into magic, and that's a valid way to do it, but I like to pump up Surf's vitality a little as I go along, just so he's not completely squishy as we go along, and I don't have to worry about him getting knocked out by, like, stray crits, or even just the enemy decides to focus on him and blast him down. Certainly that's not going to be a problem if magic is being thrown his way, but it will be a problem if we're dealing against physical bruiser enemies. This guy's seems to be going a little cuckoo. How appropriate, I suppose. So this is a mini-boss who will very quickly be degraded into a random encounter, Cockatrice. And this is the game explaining the potential benefits that you can get out of the press turn system, which I already did for you. It does make an important note there, though, that the enemy can also take advantage of the press turn system and use it against us, so we want to be careful for that. Yeah, as you can see, we missed there. I'm going for Venom Claw, because this guy is actually decently susceptible to poison, so could make the fight go a little faster if we get that to stick. But, whenever the enemy's health is red, that means they're close to dead. I think it's like, I don't know, maybe in the 20 to 15% of their HP remaining range that the health turns red. Heat gets another level here. His rare point of magic, he only periodically makes that investment. Anyway, we can flip the switch here to bring the wall down, which means when coming back through this area, we don't have to worry about being blocked off, but we have a ladder here just to get down. I suppose, strictly speaking, you don't have to flip that switch, but we will be making return visits to this place after we finish up our business, so may as well flip the switch now. Alright, now this basement area over here, I'm not going to go down there yet. There's just a bunch of walls that block us off that we'll deal with later. No sense in getting to more encounters than we have to. We'll just go with a standard punch. Now, one advantage that magic has... Ooh, this guy's afraid. Sadly, there's nothing we can do with that yet. One advantage magic has over physical attacks is that it has a much higher natural accuracy than physical attacks. Physical attacks are much more likely to miss than magic attacks are. Now, I know what you're thinking now. Well, what exactly determines accuracy? Oh, see? I was just going for the slap there to save some MP, and I missed. Now, your accuracy is primarily determined by your agility stat, and likewise, it also affects your evasion. I think luck also plays a minor role in accuracy and evasion, though not as much as agility does, which is the primary stat. We got Praetus here, and these guys are good for showing off what I wanted to show off and why Heat is at the front now. Now, one of the options we have on one of our side menus is to revert back to human form. And why would you want to do that? Well, when Heat is in human form, he has access to a grenade launcher which can hit all enemies. That's not the interesting thing though. We've discovered a combo. Now, when a character is in human form and another character has a voiding skill, like Surf does, we get the shot combos. Now, the fire shot will just enchant Heat's gun, and big fire damage to all the enemies. Very nice. So yes, that is our very first combo. Now, how do combos typically work? Well, if a combo is a magic attack or a physical attack, it'll use magic or strength respectively, obviously, and it consumes 2 press turn icons for the 2 characters involved, and the final damage is based on the actual modifier of the attack and the average of the relevant stat between the 2 characters. If you haven't completely flunked math in the past, you might notice the problem with that statement. Now, I'm bringing that up just to explain how the shot skills are different. The shot skills determine their damage based on the magic stat of the person with the gun, as well as the strength of their ammunition. So they're the only combo skills that work like that. Every other combo skill that is a damaging one follows the general pattern that I laid out. Over here we've got a life terminal. These are basically small recovery terminals that are divorced from large karma terminals. We've got our small karma terminal here. And we'll just make a quick save. It's always wise to save in these games because you never know what could happen. And if you're making Let's Plays, word of the wise, always use multiple save files. You definitely don't want to have to scrap a recording and lose a whole bunch of progress or have to start the whole game over. Alrighty, so press the triangle button, you can just view the map of the area. I might do this obsessively because I am very easily lost. Oh, we got a little cutscene here. Now, this fight is going to try and introduce us to the Void skill. These enemies use ice attacks. However, let's just have Heat revert here. And use a fire shot, because these enemies are fire weak. And yeah, because the strength of these combo attacks is based on the ammunition of the person who is, actually attacking, that is why I specifically bought a shot shell for Heat, so he could do more damage with Fire Shot. Now, Fire Shot is not the end-all be-all. It's really only worth using on things that are either weak to fire, or are just particularly weak in general, and you know it can kill them. Let's see, in this case, I don't really want to use it. Let's have him punch the Alp. We'll have Surf take this guy out. That crit is pretty lucky, although I don't know if she necessarily needed it. And, oh, hey, he also got a crit. I love his critical animation. That one conveys a lot of power. And hey, he learned new skills, Agi and Void Fire. Agi is the fire spell of the game. And here the game just explains Atma points to us, which is what AP stands for. Okay, when you learn new skills, they are not automatically set, so we just want to set those right now, and I'm just going to rearrange it so Agi is at the top. Unlike Nocturne and honestly a lot of Mega 10 games, which is really annoying, you can actually rearrange your skill lists so they are in the order that you'd like. Would really love that in Shin Megami Tensei 4. Since we're on the menu screen anyway, I thought I'd just go over the stats again. Now, I've already described what agility does. It determines your accuracy and evasion, and it's the main thing that determines your basic accuracy and evasion. And that is combined with the accuracy of the attacks you use, and, evasion versus the accuracy of the attacks the enemy use. Another function of it that is a little more obscure, and I'm not quite sure how this is determined, but it does definitely affect it. The agility stat also determines whether or not you go first in battle. You see, the random battles we've gotten into so far, we've been going first. But after this dungeon area, that will change, and enemies can potentially go first. And that is determined by your agility stat. The higher your agility stat is, the more likely it is that you will go first. And if everybody in your party has capped out agility, you basically will always go first in battle. In my personal file, I have not seen my team go last or second in quite some time. Now, I said I was a bit unclear on how this affects it. I'm not sure if it's just the agility of your lead character or the overall agility score averaged between your party, or if it's primarily determined by your lead character, but the characters in the support slots also determine it a little bit. I'm really unclear on if that's how the game determines it. I just know it definitely does affect it. Now, luck, like I said, I think it plays a secondary role in evasion and accuracy, but the primary thing it does is it determines you're resistant to status ailments, as well as your ability to inflict them on enemies. Like agility, it also has a less obvious function, and again, in future areas, there is a chance that we will be ambushed, which is a separate thing from enemies going first in battle. Here's Harley again. And yeah, he's just gonna wuss out. There he goes again. But yeah, as I was saying, being ambushed, it can't happen in this first area. They kind of lowball it on the encounters, and you don't have to worry about anything too scary happening. But in future areas, we can potentially be ambushed, and that is a check run against your luck stat. It basically functions the same way going first in this area is, and speaking of that, that cockatrice did indeed get the first action. But again, I'm not clear on if it's the average of your party's luck stat, or if it's just strictly your lead character, or if it's a little of column A and a little of column B. That leaves the last stat to explain, Strength. Strength is the most simplistic stat in the game. It determines your damage with physical attacks, and that is all it does. It does not have any fancy secondary functions, it does not affect any obscure aspects of the game that are not immediately apparent. Now, in Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, Strength is just an absolute garbage stat. It barely increases your physical damage when you invest in it. You'd have tons of points in it to notice the difference, and honestly, it really combines with your level by the end of the game. Ooh, charge shot. We're gonna throw that on heat real quick, because that is an upgraded bullet over the shot shell. I probably could have passed on getting the shot shell, honestly, but oh well. But, where was I? Yeah, Strength in Nocturne was pretty bad. In Shin Megami Tensei, your level is also a statistic that gets factored into everything. So you honestly got just as much benefit from just leveling up, period, as you did from investing in Strength. It wasn't completely useless, but it is by far the lowest priority to invest in. As you can see, that guy nullifies the fire shot. Now, I'm not actually going to have Heat attack with his grenade launcher. Heat's grenade launcher hits all enemies, but it is the weakest gun in the game to compensate for that, and it's mostly just not worth using. Ooh, just to note, we got some items there. Chakra Drop, but also an Ice Blast. That is a consumable item that we can use in battle to cast an ice spell. Not particularly worthwhile right now, since Surf has ice spells at his disposal, but there is a situational use for it. There we go. Alrighty. And just top Surf off. Good idea to stay at full health when they begin the fight. You never know what could happen. Now, in Digital Devil Saga, Strength is a bit better than, like, as a stat, Strength is a little bit better in this game. They kind of retooled the formulas to make it more prominent. And investing in it heavily will actually make a noticeable difference in the amount of physical damage you deal. But I generally just prefer Magic because it's much stronger in the early game, it's much more versatile, and by the time Strength pulls ahead, it's the end of the game, and you can honestly just have one physical bruiser character, and that'll be good. Also, just to note, Strength is nowhere near as powerful, or rather, physical attacks in this game are nowhere near as powerful endgame as they were in Nocturne. There's much more, it's much more competitive for Magic in this game for endgame damage. By the way, a little thing about the charge shot is that it can potentially inflict the shock status on the enemies that you hit it with. What is the shock status? That is a status that causes the enemies to be critically hit by any physical attack they get hit by, but it does not change their innate physical resistance. So if they are already immune to physical attacks in some way, shock won't let you actually critically hit them with physical attacks. And as you can see, Harley was running along that area, and we just blocked off one of his exit ways. If you went that way, if you tried to go that way down below, you'd just see Harley keep running a loop around the area, and he would be like, we need to block him off. I don't really feel like that's a cutscene worth seeing, so we just went ahead and took care of that without having Heat condescend to us. Alrighty, so yeah, that door is blocked off. The door at the end of this hallway, we can't get through it anymore. We have to take the roundabout way to get to Harley. But he's probably leading himself to a dead end. Can't imagine any other reason they'd have us do that. Yeah, these guys, pretty annoying. You'd think they'd be slam dunk for fire shot, but they are fire slinging enemies themselves. Not terribly durable, though. Very nice. And Surf gets some new skills. Let's take a look at those. Now, Health Thrust, I'm going to throw this on, but I'm not going to use it. I may as well. This is a physical attack. Well, Surf is not going to have any strength, so it's going to do terrible damage to most of the game. Like I said, leveling up in Shin Megami Tensei increases your damage, even if you don't invest in the relevant stats for your attacks. But that in Digital Devil Saga is not really enough to keep physical attacks competitive. In this game, you really do have to invest in strength if you want to have good physical attacks. Now, Devour, on the other hand, Devour is actually a really weak physical attack. It's about half as strong as our basic physical attack that we can just use by default, but it's a hunt skill. What do hunt skills do? Well, if you manage to kill an enemy with it, your character will devour the enemy and get a huge boost to the AP they'd earn in battle. Hunt skills are the way to accrue a lot of AP really quickly, and we will be using them a ton throughout this game so we can learn new skills. But how do we get the ability to learn new skills? Well, that's going to come up later. We're slowly getting to the point where we can kill these cockatrices in a single round of combat. And in this game, you absolutely just want to crush your enemies before they get a chance to do anything nasty to you. Always be shooting for that, because there are some enemies, if you give them the chance to go, they will just annihilate you immediately. Never let that happen. Hopefully we can get one more level before we get to the end of this area. Could always use more magic. But heading up this way, nothing back there, and through here. We've made it to the end. Yeah, we're actually making really good time here. I considered saving this for the next video, but you know what? Let's pay Harley a little house call. First, let's just head down here. There's a little bit of treasure to get down here. Hey, Praetas. You know, I ended up doing this surprisingly little. When I first played the game, I was doing this pretty frequently. Oh well. This lets us just quickly dunk on some wimpy enemies. As you can see, the levels we've been getting and the improved ammunition made that quite powerful. More magic for Surf. Now, I did mention going second in battle in the ambushes, and part of the big consequence of building Surf the way I am is that we're going to be a lot more prone to that kind of thing. Especially if he's the lead character. It definitely is a thing that if your lead character has bad agility and bad luck, you are going to be getting ambushed and going second constantly, and it is really irritating, actually. And unfortunately, because of my preferred party setup later, that is actually probably going to be a persistent problem until the end of the game. But hey, what can you do? Now, we're going to just recover there. But I'm actually going to do something a little unorthodox here. First off, we're going to put Surf back in the lead, since those problems that I mentioned don't matter for boss fights. We always go first in those. And instead, I'm going to swap out Heat's charge shell for the shot shell, or the charge shot, and I'm going to put the charge shot on Surf. And my reasoning for doing that will become apparent, well, right now. Whenever there is a boss or an important event in a room, the game will always warn you about it ahead of time, because it's pretty nice like that. Alright, we're ready. Let's open the door.
Stay away!
Harley, tell us what's going on.
That is not important. Who exactly is the girl?
What girl? Please don't. I don't know anything. I'm telling you the truth.
Why don't you know? We were the only ones on the battlefield. Now who is the girl? Where did she come from? Answer me, Harley. Why the hell can't I get that girl out of my mind?
Please. I really don't know. I see now. There is one thing I finally understand. In this world, it's eat or be eaten!
Well, it looks like Harley has found his courage right at the end here. So, I put Surf at the front. We're gonna have him revert into human form. And we've got a new combo. Because I set that Void skill on Heat, we can use Ice Shot. Now, because of the way that shot skills determine their damage, this skill will actually do more damage than Surf just using Bufu, since it's purely his statistics that determine the damage of it. As you can see, ooh, that's very lucky. This is frozen, and this is the ultimate negative status to hit with enemies. Like Shock, it makes every single attack a critical hit. Unlike Shock, it lowers their defense, and whatever physical resistance they have, it's gone. They are fully susceptible to physical attacks. So, let's just beat on Harley a little bit here. And shoot. Surf's handgun is a little amusing, actually. Despite being a dinky little pea shooter, it actually has the single highest shot damage in the game. It is the strongest gun. It's kind of funny like that. But yeah, Ice Shot. You saw our Bufus against the Cockatrices. They were doing about... Oh, nice. Well, honestly, I still think Ice Shot would be better than having Heat slap this guy. And we are just totally tearing through Harley right now. And Harley just threw up Void Ice, which is a little unfortunate, but that just means we just can't... Oh, well, he's hit with Shock. Here we go. As you can see, his HP is red, so we're just gonna tear right through him. And this should do it. Haha, that's about the best that fight can possibly go. Rest in peace, Chicken Man. Oh, Zebra Man.
Harley didn't know anything. Let's get out of here.
I feel so weak. Surf, we must get back to the base.
And the game will just automatically take us out to the entrance to the Vanguards base. Since we've defeated Harley, the Vanguards are no more. That is the law of the Junkyard. If a tribe manages to defeat and kill the leader, that tribe is disbanded and all remaining members are absorbed into the tribe. So all the members of Vanguards, they are now members of the Embryon. As you can see, if you look closely, the Vanguard member now has orange on his chest there. Orange is the color of the Embryon. Each tribe has their own distinct color they use to identify themselves. So, we've done everything we need to do in Svadhisthana right now, but there will be things that we have to come back for, obviously. However, we've made good progress this video, so let's just restore our HP and MP. Surf was the only one who took any damage in that fight, and we will save our game here. Alright, but I hope you enjoyed watching, and I sincerely hope to see you next time, because the game's getting good. Alright, until then, have a nice day. Goodbye.